everybody. Welcome to our Stitchcraft Marketing office hours. I'm Leanne Pressly. I'm the founder and CEO of Stitchcraft Marketing. We are a niche agency that serves only companies in the craft space, and most of our clients are either fiber or fabric companies. So today, as we do every month, we're going to present to you our office hours, which is time for us to share with you our insights. And I'm super excited about the session today, which is our 2024-25 fall and winter trends. We've got everybody on the team at Stitchcraft. Rebecca's here, Michelle is here, Erin, Flossie, and Katie and myself. We're all going to present to you some trends that we hope will be helpful to you in planning not just your holiday season this year, but for all of your marketing planning for 2025 as well. So a couple of pieces of housekeeping. If you've got some questions, Erin's going to be taking care of those in the chat today. So just type those into our chat and we'll get those in order. We should go today for about 40 minutes, and then we'll have about 15 minutes for questions afterwards. And if we don't get to your question, we do have an email option, so we'll make sure that all of those are answered today. So I'm going to cover what we're going to learn today. Of course, the hottest up and coming craft trends, crafting trends that also remain popular and continue to evolve. I think that's super helpful for all of you that might be retailers, that might be products and classes that you might keep on the books. And then we've got cyclical cultural trends and how they inform the crafting sphere. And then I will do a quick wrap up with a couple of marketing trends that I'm seeing on the horizon for 2025 that y'all can incorporate into your marketing strategies. So the first team member is going to be Flossie. We've got 4 folks today. They're going to be presenting, not including myself. Flossie will be up first with her trends of choose your own craft venture.
Thank you. So millennials and crafters of a certain age probably remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books. They let readers assume the role of the protagonist and choose from predetermined story threads to build out their own unique narrative. The Choose Your Own Craft Venture trend follows the same concept. We've noticed a rush of new products and projects that encourage crafters to take a more active role in building projects that are tailored to their aesthetic. The trend invites crafters into the design process, but kind of puts up guardrails by outlining specific options that make it easier for crafters to achieve their own unique vision. This trend often veers into mix and match territory. It not only gives crafters endless combinations, but it also makes them feel like they're getting a little more bang for their buck because they can make several different types of projects. Modular projects and classes that feature mix and match options are an easy way for craft businesses to explore this trend. We have the first on the left here, you'll see it's a gnome from designer Sarah Shearer's new book, The Gnomes of Brimblewood. It's actually one of 4 mix and match gnomes in the collection. So knitters can choose from different styles of beards, hats, noses, and other features to knit their own unique gnome. And they have 4 different gnomes that they can do this with. Summer Lee of Summer Lee Design Company, she just released a colorwork cuff club. It's a year-long club where each month knitters receive a new colorwork cuff design and it pairs with a basic sock pattern and they can kind of mix and match those. Then we have the Besties quilt, which was a bestseller for slice of pie quilts at last year's quilt market. I'm not surprised by that at all, given how easily the friendship bracelet motif can be adapted to display a personalized message. And it also ties in with the Taylor Swift Eras Tour friendship bracelet phenomenon, which is everywhere right now. And then finally, we have Pacific Knit Company's doodle decks. These are singular colorwork knitting charts that can be mixed and matched to create your own colorwork designs. I just went to Rhinebeck. These were all over Rhinebeck this year. I saw so many sweaters and cowls that featured doodle deck motifs. And the thing I found most interesting is that each knitwear piece that I saw was unique unto itself, but it was also instantly recognizable as a doodle deck creation. To me, that kind of shows the resonance of creating a sort of choose your own craft venture style design or project. It leaves a lasting impression and people like recognize it when they see it and they recognize the brand. Again, I would encourage businesses and designers to think of ways to engage crafters so that they can put their creative spin on a project that goes beyond choosing their own fabric or fiber colors. Projects that are modular, that can be mixed and matched, and that invite crafters into the design process within a framework that makes it easy for them to make their own unique creation. So that's it for me. I'm going to pass the baton to my coworker, Katie. She's excited to talk about a fun trend in quilting.
Hi. Let's talk about patchwork fashion trends. And yes, we're moving beyond just quilt jackets, though those are still fabulous. You may have noticed quilt jackets have been all the rage in recent years. It's like everybody's other Instagram posts feature somebody proudly wearing their handiwork, and who can blame them? They're cozy, chic, and perfect for showing off a quilting passion without having to shout it from the rooftops. But here's the thing. Quilters, as we all know, don't just stop at jackets. Once you catch the patchwork bug, the possibilities seem endless. And lately, we're seeing patchwork expand into all kinds of garments and accessories. Think patchwork skirts, pants, shoes, hats, and even corsets. Basically, if it has fabric on it, someone's going to quilt it. So, why is patchwork fashion taking over? For one, it's all about sustainability. As more people become environmentally conscious, quilters are looking at ways to upcycle and repurpose old materials. Some are thrifting old quilts and turning them into something new, while others are using their leftover fabric scraps from other projects. It's all about reducing waste and giving life to what might otherwise end up in the discard pile. Plus, it showcases your personality and puts something truly unique into your closet. Another cool thing about patchwork fashion is that it lets quilters show off their hard earned skills outside the home. Sure, we love a good quilt on the couch or a wall hanging, but wearing your creation out into the world, that's next level. It's like being a walking quilt show, and we all know how much quilters love to share their work. Now, this trend also offers a great opportunity for craft retailers. Patchwork fashions allow them to teach crafters about scrap use, upcycling, and how to incorporate sustainability into their creative practice. It's a win win. Crafters get to experiment with fresh ideas, and retailers get to engage customers with new product classes and techniques that can fuel their creativity. So, if you haven't already dived into patchwork fashion beyond jackets, now's the time. It's fun, it's sustainable, and let's face it, it's just plain stylish. Let's dive into some photos that showcase how far this fashion movement has come. First up, we have a stunning patchwork dress by oh 07 Days. It has a bow at the back and an open back design and gives off serious French picnic vibes. It's a lovely blend of casual and elegant, and a great example of how patchwork can be delicate and stylish. Next, we have my personal favorite, a patchwork mini skirt by Tiffany Toe. This skirt proves that intricate patchwork isn't just for quilts. Instead, it can fit perfectly into your wardrobe. Our third photo showcases another patchwork dress, this time by Carney Couture. This piece caters to boho cottage core style with its flowing vintage quilty vibes. And finally, we have a quilted corset by Psychic Outlaw. This takes cottagecore to a whole new level. It's not just a top, it's a statement piece. These photos truly show how versatile patchwork fashion has become. Next, I'm going to hand this off to my coworker, Rebecca, and she will tell you about her slides.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about the iconic granny square. It's a beloved crochet motif that for many is their first foray into the fiber arts. And it keeps coming back, and it's being used in so many ways. It feels fresh, not dated. The first way they do this is done is they're not just always square anymore. Using a half square, which is a triangle, opens up new design possibilities. Granny squares are also not confined to blankets. We're seeing them as a design feature in knitting, needlepoint, quilting all over the place. A perfect example of this is the Fleetwood sweater from Tana's Fiber Arts that we have here. We have the crochet granny squares in the front and knit sleeves, and the back panel is also knit. Granny squares also fit into the build your own craft venture movement we mentioned earlier. The flexibility of granny squares allows crafters to mix and match different motifs, colors, and textures. You go stash diving, you compare different colors, fibers, and really come up with something that's one of a kind. For craft retailers, offering classes, kits, and inspiration that are centered around granny square projects can engage and inspire both seasoned and new crafters. The simplicity of the motif makes it accessible, but its versatility keeps it interesting. Examples of this that have caught my eye are the fanny pack from Red Heart Yarns. In addition to seeing fanny packs and sling bags everywhere, we're seeing the crochet granny squares and those triangles on the side to create that shape. When you fold them up, those granny squares, you can also make this chickens. Those are just made with 2 granny squares. Those are fun, quick to make. They can be decoration, ornaments, keychains, scent sachets. There's a lot of possibility to just have fun with it. We have the granny square card deck, kind of along the lines of the doodle deck. Each square features a different granny square motif, so you can mix and match or just try one out, make your own design. I've also included Tony Lipsy's Grandpa Sweater Vest here. It's an oversized, cozy, wearable crochet item. It's not a blanket, but you feel that coziness and comfort when you wear it. And vests, by the way, are also very much on trend lately. And then for those who don't want to pick up a yarn and a hook and try making a granny square, you can incorporate them into other needle crafts. We have the granny square cross stitch pattern by Carolyn Manning. There's geometry and color blocking principles here of granny squares work so well for the needle and floss crafts, making for some really fun home decor. So granny squares, I think this shows you they are not dated, they are not old-fashioned, they are fun. So next up is Erin with Sustainable Fabrics and Fibers.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm excited to talk to you about my selected trend, which is sustainability. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. And just like several other industries, sustainability in the crafting space is super important. We're seeing crafters are prioritizing conscious consumerism, which aligns with the purchasing behaviors of people at large. And they do this by researching and purchasing from brands who are holding themselves to higher standards, whether that's in how they source their materials or how they're reducing their environmental impact. And in addition to purchasing sustainably made fabrics and fibers, we're also seeing a greater focus on upcycling as crafters take something old and reimagine them into something new, which is something that Katie also touched on in her patchwork quilting trend. So for their part, manufacturers and craft retailers are responding to this greater desire for sustainability with new and innovative fibers and fabrics made from food waste, plants, and recycled materials. And all of this is in response to wanting to be more environmentally friendly, as well as the pushback against plastics and microplastics. So in terms of your business, this does open up a couple opportunities for you. The first being in the materials you source and sell, as well as educational opportunities you can provide to engage your customers. And I wanted to highlight a few different examples of sustainable fabrics that are made from food and plant waste, along with the popularity of upcycling. This obviously does not show all the different ways that manufacturers and retailers are focusing on sustainability, but I definitely thought there were some interesting things to dive into. So I'm first going to start by highlighting some of the unique fabrics made from food and plant waste. Starting in the top left, we have seawool that is made from oyster shells and recycled plastics. And the benefit of making fabric from oyster shells is that it's actually helping to reduce strain on marine ecology. I was not familiar with this until I did some research, but we actually dump 6 to 8 million tons of oyster shells back into the ocean every year, which causes a major strain on that environment. And so by repurposing these shells into a textile option, it's definitely a sustainable way to take the industry. And then below that is the banana tex fabric, which is made from, you guessed it, bananas. It is a biodegradable, plastic-free, and vegan fabric. And this particular example also supports regenerative agriculture. And then here we have our fabric made from mycelium, which is a fancy way of saying mushrooms. And this fabric is non-toxic and waterproof, as well as fire resistant. And the cool thing about creating fabric from mycelium is that it is super flexible and strong, regardless of its thickness. And it's something that they boast that they can make as thin as needed for things like dresses and lampshades, or they can make it incredibly thick for heavy duty items. And it's something that you may find outside of just the crafting space. So a lot of these sustainable fabrics are impacting the crafting industry as well as the fashion industry. And you'll even start to see some of this material in cars. And then the Pinatex example is the new pleather. It is leather made from pineapples. So not to be confused with the leather made from plastic. And as I was researching how to make this leather from pineapples, I learned something about harvesting pineapples I did not know before. So as pineapples are harvested and sold for food, all of the leaves from the plant are considered waste. And so farmers will often burn those leaves to get rid of them, which obviously has its own impacts on the environment in terms of the carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere. So by taking the leaves that were formerly thought of as waste and repurposing them, it's not only an advantage to reduce waste and use that material, but it's also providing a positive social impact by providing additional and diversified income streams for those pineapple farmers. And it also helps create jobs in rural areas. So I thought that was really cool to think about the economic impact of these different food and plant waste fabrics as well. And then the last uniquely made fabric I wanted to highlight is the cactus leather, which you can see the example there from Deserto. They have a cactus leather handbag. And we know that cacti are some of the most resilient plants that can grow in some of the most desolate of environments and survive extreme weather. They're also extremely water efficient compared to traditional farming practices. And they are also perennials, which means they're not something that have to be harvested every year and then replanted. So they continue to grow, and there's an environmental benefit to that as well. So this does make it a good sustainable and vegan source for textiles. And then the final two examples on this slide are highlighting the trend of upcycling. It's something that we're seeing people get more and more invested in and interested in. We've also seen small businesses start to provide upcycling services, such as this example from Gem Design 567 on Etsy. This is an example of an upcycled wedding dress that she turned into a dressing gown. And commonly used materials for these upcycling projects, it could be scrap fabric or fabric left over from quilting projects or old projects. It can also be wedding dresses, denim, and thrifted clothing. So this example on the far right by Activism, she thrifted this jean skirt that she's wearing, but it had a huge stain on it. And so she took a former upcycling project that she no longer wore and repurposed it to bring new life to this skirt. So as we see people spend more time thrifting clothes to help extend the life of already produced items, as well as upcycling their own wardrobes, they're really focused on sustainability. In a subsection of that, I've also seen popularity in mending become more popular. So I've seen more like mending circles and crafting circles in that regard, which could be an opportunity for your business to get some customers in the door. But people are really focused on how to extend the life of their clothing, or their blankets, their quilts, whatever it may be that they need to mend. And yeah, it's just something that I love to see because sustainability is great. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Michelle for our final crafting trend.
Okay, great. So I am diving into the trend that continues to bring the past back to life in the world of crafting. I'm talking about faux nostalgia. It's a phenomenon that isn't exactly deja vu, but it certainly feels like it. So what is faux nostalgia? It's the resurgence of cultural elements from past decades, and it's influencing everything from fashion to home decor, and yes, even crafting trends. The idea that trends are cyclical is nothing new. We often see that what was once popular comes back in new forms, influencing design and consumer behavior. For craft retailers, understanding these cycles can unlock opportunities to offer products that resonate with customers on a deeper nostalgic level. Right now, we're seeing a revival of mid-century modern style with a Scandinavian twist. This trend brings back iconic Scandi tulips, minimalist patterns, and colored glassware. Think of those smooth lines, pops of color, and functional yet artistic design elements that defined the mid-century era. Moving forward in time, the late 60s and 70s continue to inspire today's designs. You've probably noticed an uptick in funky, earthy florals, these bold, nature-inspired prints that feel effortlessly retro, yet timeless. There's a hint of Marimekko-style motifs making their way into fabric patterns, wallpapers, and even paper crafts. And let's not forget the ongoing love affair with the 70s disco era. Sparkles, sequins, bold patterns, they're showing up in everything from party decorations to custom apparel. But that's not all. We're getting ready for an 80s revival here. Roller skating culture is making a huge comeback, bringing with it bright neon colors, checkered motifs, and a whole host of pop culture references. Think bold, playful patterns and nostalgic imagery that transport us back to the days of arcade games and mixtapes. These elements are not just for the older generations reminiscing about their youth. They appeal to younger generations too, who find the bright aesthetics refreshingly different from the minimalist trends of the past decade. So what does this mean for craft retailers? It's time to stock up on fabrics, patterns, and giftables that celebrate these eras. Consider incorporating mid-century mod fabrics with Scandi tulips or offering 70s-inspired DIY kits featuring floral or disco motifs. Look for materials that can bring a bit of the 80s into your customers' hands, like neon-colored yarns, roller skate-themed prints, or bold geometric fabric patterns. And then here are some of the takes on the Fostalda trend that have caught my attention. First is the Scandi-inspired vest from Thread and Sprout. Honestly, this piece hits a bit of the 60s and 70s color themes for me as well. I'd make and wear this in a heartbeat. Next are these hand-built ceramic mini fireplace incense burners from Kate Schroeder. The bright colors, clean lines, and that specific fireplace style celebrate the mid-century modern aesthetic to a T. This Marimekko-inspired fabric found on Spoonflower, that looks amazing as an upholstered chair. I love to see these bold patterns in flowing daywear garments as well. Obtruse-like brings a little bit of disco into everything. Check out their work on Instagram to find an explosion of mirrored expression, from these disco ball bandana slides to cacti to even my favorite Hollywood extraterrestrial ET. Neon Chili offers pre-designed and custom neon signs. These signs are a great way to create an Instagrammable moment in your shop while having a little fun too. Becca Worley paints bright florals which inspire bold fashion and a bit of joy too. Becca does not shy away from funky color combinations, and I am all here for it. And lastly, we have some mid-century modern stars from Retro Layers on Etsy. I look at these as inspiration for your displays or accents in product photography, as well as something to look for while purchasing fabrics. By recognizing and embracing these Fostalda trends, craft retailers can tap into the emotional appeal of nostalgia while providing fresh, exciting products. So don't be afraid to look back. Sometimes the best way to stay ahead is to find inspiration in the past. Now I'm going to hand it over to Leanne to wrap up our trends.
Thanks, Michelle. It's, of course, so funny to see what's new is what was once old. I love that trend. So my marketing trends, I'm going to talk about a couple of different things that I'm seeing happening now in 2024, but then also to keep your eye on for 2025. The first one, I'm going to give you three. So the first one is the maturation of UGC and influencer marketing. So UGC is short for user-generated content. And we know that it's still wielding a lot of power with consumers. In fact, when I was doing my research for this deck, I found a slide that said 84% of consumers are more likely to trust a brand's marketing campaign that features UGC. And that might be a content creator or an influencer, which we are, I'll say that's also a trend. We're also starting to see that word morph from influencer into content creators. So you might see that word used interchangeably. But we're seeing content creators create something on their own channels, and then what would be smart is for you as a brand or as the retailer to pick up that content and then repost it on your channel. So you can see here in the top right example, one of our clients, Knit Pal, this was a gal that was talking about how impressed she was with the yardage in the yarn, and she posted this really great video which went out to her social footprint, her own audience, and then we picked that up for her and posted it on the Knit Pal channel. So now everybody can see that testimonial from this content creator. And then down on the bottom right, another one of our clients, Colonial Patterns. This was a piece of content that a customer posted and reposted on their social. So again, just keep scouring the internet for your customers that are talking about your brand or your products, and work that into your marketing strategy to bring that over to your channels as well. Next, we've got more micro influencers gaining traction. I think maybe 5 years ago, we used to sort of be in an era where you had to be a content creator that had a TV show on PBS about knitting, or maybe you had developed a YouTube channel with 500,000 subscribers on your channel. And I'm really starting to see that morph more into this micro influencer audience, where you've got folks that have a smaller social footprint, but still a lot of influence with their audience. I love one of the articles that I often reference is 1,000 True Fans, where he talks about you really only need 1,000 true fans to buy something from your brand. You don't need to be selling to everyone in the whole world to gain traction. And I love how that is true for the micro influencer world out there. So a couple things we've learned: if you're interested in embarking on an influencer campaign, exclusives are going to be best. Obviously, a product that hasn't already been out there in the world is going to do better if you're engaging a new content creator. Their audience, and probably your audience, want to see it for the very first time. Also, we recommend that you're using tracking and affiliate codes to measure the ROI. I think a lot of clients that I work with kind of get stuck in what I call throwing mud up on the wall. You know, you're doing Facebook ads, you're doing an influencer marketing program, you're doing digital advertising, and things are working really well. But because you're not doing any tracking on any of that data, you have no idea what's performing the best for you. So if you engage in one of these with a content creator or an influencer marketing program, do make sure that you've got that tracking on the back end so that you can see if it is or is not working as part of your marketing strategy. Know your budget before reaching out. I think a lot of micro influencers and content creators are still in this place where they kind of don't know what they want or what they need. They're not as polished, they're not as professional, which that's one of the advantages, right? They're more authentic. So what comes with that often is when you reach out to them, they're like, well, I don't really know what I want to charge for that. So if you can start with your budget in mind and your goals in mind, you're going to just have a lot more streamlined experience with them. And then finding an intermediary with a good craft connection. Our agency, I'll do a humble pitch for that. We do offer support for influencers, and we have a database of over 300 content creators, both in the fabric and the fiber space, that are willing and eager to work with you, either as a brand or as a retailer. And we manage the entire process for you. All of the outbound communications. We help make sure that your beauty sheet is beautiful. We manage the timelines. We manage accountability to make sure if someone promises you that they're going to do a blog about your new yarn, that they actually do it. So if it's not an agency, maybe someone internal on your team that's trained to just keep their finger on the pulse of that influencer program. All right, next. Of course, AI. Everybody's talking about AI everything. You're seeing AI integrations exist for search engines, graphic design, note-taking, and writing. We could probably spend the whole hour here talking about different AI tools, but I wanted to just give you a snack size nibble of some of the tools that we're using here at Stitchcraft Marketing. The first one is Canva's AI image generator. Canva did a great job being out of the gate, really first to market with some of their tools that are already integrated with Canva. I believe you will need a paid level subscription or the membership to Canva in order to access some of that. But I would encourage you to get in there and just tinker around with it, because as far as our experience goes, it's been streamlined and very efficient and works really well for us. Next, we have ChatGPT's custom GPTs. For those of you that are thinking, I don't even know what she's talking about, you can go to OpenAI or just put that into your Google search, or just ChatGPT, and that will kind of get you started on the road of what ChatGPT is, which is an AI search function, and can kick out all sorts of really cool results for you. And if you have a paid version, you can have access to what's called a custom GPT, which is where you can tell GPT about your brand and your business by uploading your materials. So let's say hypothetically you have a podcast, you've written blog posts, you've got social posts, you've got a white paper, you've got any other documentation that goes along with running your business. You upload that to ChatGPT, and then when you're doing your prompts and your inquiries, it's only referencing your custom GPT, which again makes it easier for the GPT to kick out content results that are in alignment with your voice, your style, the vocabulary you use, maybe certain policies that you have in place. And so your end result is just going to be a lot more refined than if you're just doing regular GPT on its own. So we love those. And then lastly, just discovered this about a month ago. We used to use a note taker called Fireflies, which was really good, but paid. And since then, we found this new one. It's called Fathom, and it's a note taker for virtual meetings. I love it. If you're having a virtual meeting with anybody, let's say, gosh, your reps or your vendors or an employee, let's say you're doing a performance review with them, or like for whatever reason you need to do a Zoom video recording, you can record it with Fathom. And not only does it do the video component, but it does a text, transcript, and you can search back to that transcript. Like, for example, when we do team meetings, if I'll go back and say, oh, what did Erin say about the time she was going to get that project done? Well, you do a search and it tells you exactly what she said and what that date was. It also gives you a summary of action items. So if you're having a team meeting with everyone in your shop, that could assign everybody what they said they were going to do in that meeting, which is fantastic. So check that out. It is free, which is the part we love the most about it. But then I always say when I'm talking about AI, make sure that you remember AI is kind of like, the way we think of it is like an intern, and they've only been on the job for a couple of weeks. So it always needs to be supervised. AI in general can be confidently wrong about a lot of things. So you do need to go back and double check anything that's going out in the world, like a blog post, for example. And we recommend that you use it for brainstorming, ideation, ugly first drafts. And then in our opinion, we found image creation, especially in the craft space, has been terrible. We laugh internally at our team when someone comes up with an image of, we type in, give us an image of someone knitting. There's always 45 fingers on it. And they're, of course, using the wrong tools and, all sorts of bizarre imagery. So I think it needs a little bit more time to develop before you guys can go in there and really grab images through AI and use those consistently. And then lastly, the last trend I want to talk about is automated posting. The automated posting is something that we're seeing come out from brands to retailers, companies like Brand Muscle or Soshi. Any of you on the call that are Bernina dealers, you might have been exposed to Soshi, which is an automated posting program where the posts go right from the brand onto your Facebook channel, for example, possibly using a hashtag. And our agency is partnering with Craftalytics to do Post Feed, which is a similar competitive platform. If you're on the call and you're a retailer, this might be something that comes down as a directive from the brands that you're working with, but I would keep this just kind of in the back of your mind as something that you might see in 2025, where some of your social media posting will be automated and driven by the brand. And then it would come automatically onto your social media channels, Facebook or Instagram specifically. All right. Lastly, just want to review how we can help you. As I said at the top of the call, we are a full service marketing agency and we specialize in fiber and fabric companies. So just a couple of examples here. We could conduct a strategic analysis of your business, including all of your social channels, and we take a look at your competitors. That project takes probably 7 days to 10 days to complete, and it's one of our most popular products. We could outline a 2025 marketing strategy for you so you can take advantage of all the wonderful trends that you've heard today. We can help you set up those custom GPTs for your business so that you can more effectively utilize artificial intelligence in 2025 and really get a jump on that. We can set up an influencer marketing program for you. So if you're a brand or a retailer with an exclusive product, we can help connect you to those people, both in the sewing space or in the fiber space, to get your brand's products or your retail's exclusives out into the world. And we can also provide industry-specific marketing consulting. I do want to remind everybody that we offer free office hours every single month, just like this platform. That the normal format is about 10-15 minutes on a particular topic. So maybe we would talk about custom GPTs, for example, and you can join those for free. For maybe a 30-minute commitment. And then at the end of our session, we always open it up for questions on anything related to your craft business. So it's a great opportunity for you to get free consulting from the folks on our team. Our next office hours is going to be November 13th, and that is 2 p.m. Central Time. And I believe Michelle is going to be talking about how to better utilize gift cards in your retail shop experience. We have a couple of clients that are absolutely slaying it with their gift card promos. And it's not just, buy a gift card and be on your way. There's some really clever add-ons that they've done for their gift card programs. So we're going to talk all about that during the next office hours. If you have signed up for this webinar, you went through our MailChimp transition there, we do have your email address, and now you will be on the mailing list, and you will get our newsletter, which will remind you every month of what the time and the date and the topic is for our office hours. So don't panic if you're listening going, how do I find out about office hours? Because you're already on the list. And of course, you can unsubscribe if you feel like there's not value for you there, but I do hope you'll read our newsletter and get some value out of that.